morning everyone, good afternoon, good evening. How are you all? Thank you so much for all the lovely comments reading my brushes, and what's wonderful is that reviews are coming through and that you are just loving the way that they look and feel. So thank you all so much. Today I thought I would do this look. Okay, a few new products to share with you, and I thought I would do this, as you saw, just a little bit kind of warmer makeup. As we're kind of turning a little bit more autumnal, we just change those vibes, and as you can still see, I'm still spritzing myself, so I've still got that warm undertone to my skin. I'm looking around to see this product here, that's what I wanted. 24-hour Pore Minimizer by L'Oreal. This is a Prime Lab Advanced Derm Primer. No idea what that means. But, you know, I like to use the Trini Miracle Blur. Sorry, I didn't talk about it when I put it on my lips the other week. Yeah, many of you asked about it. It just takes away the texture in the front of my face. But this is a much more of a liquidy gel formula. And it does a very similar thing, but just around the T-zone. I've got my SPF, I've done my skincare, I'm all ready. But I wanted to put this on before I put my makeup on, because I'm going to use quite a soft makeup, a new one by Max Factor, which is a serum based. It's called Skin Reset, and I'll show you why. I'm going to show you that in a moment. Right, so I put that on, really soft. It's really great value. It doesn't tighten the skin, and like I said, it just smooths everything, so fills in pores and gives a lovely surface to the skin, so that when you put your foundation on, it just looks much smoother. And if you're still using something quite light, or you prefer to something light, then it just gives more of a polished finish. So let me go in with, this is light to medium. I tried it the other day and I thought, okay, fine, this is going to go on really softly and very sheerly, which it did. Oh, see, that's interesting, isn't it? These pipettes are quite tricky. Oh, that's better. That was my fault. I probably hadn't popped it up. Sometimes the pipettes you just have to like throw on your face. I'm not one to dribble stuff on my face. But as you can see, I'm going to do it on this side of my face. It's very sheer. It feels beautiful. It remains hydrated on the skin, but it actually gave quite good coverage for a serum foundation. Kind of blended in and smoothed out sort of pigmentation that I had, but it's very sheer, so it didn't age the skin, it didn't dry the skin, but I just felt that it gave a very lovely finish. So I'm just going to place that on like that. It's quite nice to apply it with my brush, because you can see the finish quite clearly. And it allows a very light product to be placed on the skin, giving it its full potential. Whereas if I went in with my hands, I'd probably lose a little bit of it, whereas this sort of helps it sink into the skin. Now, another thing that I wanted to show you with this, as you can see the difference, is that a lot of the serum foundations I've found are quite glossy. Now, as a dry skin person myself, I don't know why I kind of went into an accent with that, I obviously love that, because I need all the juices I can get. So you see, just as I go around my temple area, it's a really good coverage. This one isn't shiny, that's what I was talking about, which I thought would be very interesting, because not all of you have dry skin, and some of you obviously got combination skin, oily skin, or just don't like that sort of, you know, glossy effect. And like we've talked about many a time, is that we can put the gloss into our skin where we want it to elevate our complexions. But it's quite nice to have a very soft serum base that's affordable and stays matte, which I probably won't need any powder for. Nice, right? Surprisingly nice, and a really good colour. Perfect. So I think because we're going into kind of serum sort of glossy, fresh look. So let's stick with the Superluminous Serum Concealer from Beauty Pie. I'm going to apply this straight from its little own doe foot. Again, because the texture is super light, you want to maximize its capabilities. And it's just in this inner corner here and inner corner here. I actually already did my brows. Use the Wonder Brow. It's great when you can just depend on a product. And they just stay like that all day. So this is going to do a job at kind of reflecting and bouncing light off my skin rather than giving me a kind of like, you know, opaque covered look. So it's quite nice to have the two different textures, even though the two different textures are quite light. Do you get what I mean? The older we get, sometimes you don't want too much of a heavy coverage, and maybe that sort of claustrophobic feeling doesn't feel comfortable. So going in with my fabulous concealer brush, my snuggly brush, and I'm just dancing it very gently, just gently patting, that you can see it just disperses it beautifully into the skin where it needs to be. So I've still got that lovely light, but it is not at all being detrimental to the texture of my skin. Went away with my own thoughts there. So just nice little dancing movements. If it was an opaque concealer, you'd want to be a little bit firmer, but this is just to press it in. It's almost just like using your finger, right? Just as if you were using the lovely pads of your finger, which you of course still can. This is rather nice. Now, I wouldn't take this concealer around my nose and mouth because it is reflective. Okay, you want to keep this area nice and matte, especially if you've got texture on your face like me. But I kind of like the freshness of this makeup. So I'm going to go in with this. This is a beautiful new lipstick from NARS, and it's called Explicit. Now, this shade is called Rendezvous. I actually went to the launch last week. It's got a very beautiful click to it. And NARS are celebrating 30 years. Can you believe it? But look at this beautiful shade. And I thought, you know what? This would be nice. This would be nice for my gang because it's a very browny red. I mean, it's probably more brown than it is red. But the texture of this sits in between a lipstick and a kind of glossy balm. So it's very wearable and it feels really nice, but the pigment stays on. There's lots of shades, but I thought I would start with this one and do the makeup backwards because it's actually quite a strong shade for me. What I do love is this sort of application, or the shape of the bullet is slightly more angled. So I found that I could really place it on my lip like that. Yeah, it's more of a kind of like ready rust, isn't it? And it's a nice, it's very French. It's a nice shade if you don't fancy red, right? I'm just going to literally use this. It's quite comforting to use this side of the lipstick. Often they aren't the right shape, well, for my lips anyway. I'm just going to blot with the tissue. As you can see, that's quite a rough application. I'll show you why. And then I'm going to take my number 6 brush. And I'm going to use a little bit of the Tatcha powder, which is so light. It's their silk powder. And I'm going to put it on the back of my hand first and just tap it through. Now, when you're using powders around the lip, you want to make sure that they are nice and light. I'm just going to dust that over the top and then rub my lips together. Now, this doesn't obviously look perfected. It's not meant to. We're going to go in and perfect it. But I tell you now, if you can get that good strong base on first of the pigment you're going to use, and then you go in and perfect it, your lipstick will last so much longer. So now I'm going to use the number 12 brush, place that onto the lipstick, backwards and forwards, and then start to correct. I'm going to move my mirror here, maybe it's just a little bit easier for everyone to see. It's really lovely. And the reason that I've done this first, let me just put a little bit on the lower lip, get the full impact of the colour. See, that's a little too dark. So I'm going to stop there and carry on with the brush. Because this is a dark colour, I don't want to use a liner with it. For me, I want this to be nice and soft and blurred. And using the straight edge lip brush makes all the difference. So just literally softening and dragging that pigment in to where I'm comfortable with it. It's really great, isn't it? Just to kind of get that definition to the lip. Then I'm going to take a little tissue and just blot really nicely, and then take the same brush, number 6, with a tiny bit of powder, and just cushion that underneath the lip. You see how the difference that makes for me. Now obviously I haven't got anything else on my face, you haven't got the woohoo moment yet, but to me, with lips that aren't necessarily perfect and easy to put colour on, just that little bit of time and patience to buff the colour out and match it up so it's not like something that's sitting on top of my lips, it's now become part of my lips, is really, really beautiful, I think. Okay, so I'm going to try a few little things. That literally took me a while to find some nice colour combinations with this. So I'm looking at the Giorgio Armani Neo Nude, but I'm thinking that's too cool. There's also a lovely shade called Love by Rare Beauty, which I think might be, well, it's definitely going to be better than that. I was going to use the lipstick shade around my eyes, but let's just try this one first. I'm kind of going to work up, because to keep this kind of vibe modern, it needs to be sort of simple. So let's try the Love. Now I'm going to do it a little bit more higher as well, to give me a little bit more of a, you know, that kind of like French chic look. I'm just going to go up there and up there. Now the Rare Beauty blushers, as you know, are really punchy, so I'm probably going to go in with another concealer brush that's clean. And I'm just going to use that because it allows me to spread the product, but really softly and evenly, and just so it shapes my cheekbone. I don't really want it to go any further than that. So just a little bit more forward and then just up and lifting. Now you can blend them, they blend them beautifully, but what you have to be careful of is that you don't end up pushing colour and pigment all over your face, that you don't actually get to sculpt it where you want it. And that's a thing that a lot of people are struggling with when they're sort of enjoying this underpainting trend that's around at the moment, is that you put all these really strong colours on, your contour, your blush, and then you sort of mix it with concealer. You can end up with an untrained eye just smudging a lot of coloured pigment into your concealer and foundation. It's a lovely thing to be able to do, and it definitely works, but it's quite a skilled technique. Okay, so I've placed the colour where I want it. Obviously, you know I'm not going to leave it like that. I'm going to take another soft number 6 brush, and I'm just going to, it's got a little bit of the powder on, and I'm just going to go over the edges. And when you do that, to see how it then looks, you kind of got that kind of rawness, and this just kind of blends in. And that looks so soft, and it's super flattering because I haven't put like highlighter here or anything. It's just because I've played with those colours and placed them in the right place. That's why I made these brushes also small, well, mainly small, because I wanted you to be able to really pick out the light and the colour and the darker areas of your face, to play forward and play up in order just to beautify your face shape. So already looking so much better. So that's got the pigment on, so I'm going to remove that now. I'm going with the number 5, which has got the point on, okay? Now I've put that in the Tatcha Silk powder, again super, super light, and I'm going to really whiz it round so you just get a nice distribution of pigment, and because of the point, you can just literally just caress it in the corner of your nose, under your eye if you want to, and that just pushes back that sort of strength at the front of my face, so it still looks, you know, a little bit softer. You don't want it to look, you know, too much. The makeup's almost like, try not to make it like an oil painting. It should be more like a water painting, you know, where it's all just like very, very gentle. Right, so I think I'm going to be brave and I'm going to go in with the Love Rare Beauty blush, but I'm going to put it on my hand and I'm going to go in with my number 9. So this is a very small pointed brush, again, because I want the brush to do the work for me. And I'm going to place it in my socket first to create a lovely wash. Now I might need to do this all over my eye, but I think the warmth of this colour is going to make my eyes come a lot greener. Ideally, I think I just want to do the socket because I want it to just look like a very gentle hue over my eye, but I might need to just do it on the lid as well. We'll see, because it might look a bit too made up. Yeah, I think I'm right. So this brush is great for, it just creates this beautiful diffusion over my eye without anything. But then I need to use the flat one, the number 11, just to get it over the lid. And I'm using the remnants of the colour that was on my hand. So again, it's not too much. I think it's so easy for us all to do too much. That's looking lovely. You can see how that concealer is really lifting too. Not too bad. Okay, let's go in with a little bit of the Dolce & Gabbana mascara, if I can find her. I mean, if you need a little bit of glamour in your life, woo, what a lovely gift to receive, right? So, so beautiful. Again, a mascara that I would love because it's nice and thin and delicate, so it avoids getting mascara everywhere. For me, it's much better if I lift up my lid and place the mascara right to the root and pull it out. It's a great mascara, really lifting, really elongating. And do I do a little bit underneath? Just a little hint. I don't actually probably dye my eyelashes. What dyes do you use? Just very lightly. I want the bottom lashes to be finer than my top. Okay, let's just go in again and get that nice second coat of magic. Really pulling, 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 pulling. I always sort of try and explain that if you're doing your mascara, imagine that you're sort of blow drying your hair. So be directional with the place of mascara. Nice, great. And you know what? Look, I haven't actually put the mascara wand back in there, back into the tube, which is a really great sign that it's a brush that delivers the mascara gently to the lashes. You can get some mascaras that just deposit so much that you end up sort of cleaning and polishing up your lash. Really love this lippy, and it's not a colour that I would gravitate to. Can you believe NARS is 30 years? God, mad, isn't it? I hope they do like a big exhibition or something. So many iconic images that he has and the brand have produced. Yeah, again, just nice little touch on those lower lashes. I don't think I actually need to add any white in the interior of my eye either, because that's enough. Right, so I think just to finish this off, I'm going to show you, I'm sure I've showed you the Mario Skin Enhancer before. This is shade medium. I'm going to use my firmer brush for doing wet products, the number 2. And because my skin tone is warm, I feel that sort of the forehead and cheeks need to be just connected slightly. So whizzing that backwards and forwards, just off the back of my hand, just very, very lightly. And I'm just going to give a little bit of je ne sais quoi for our French look. Just around that forehead, break it up over the front of my nose. Don't think I need any more on the cheek. That's better. That's better. Just really push that into my hairline. Just dance that around so it's just dispersing little pigment everywhere. Lovely. What do you think? Would you go brownie before we go red for kind of all the, you know, the lovely, beautiful winter looks that we're going to do? I think it's really nice. And I have to say, this is one of those shades that is going to suit so many people. And I don't think it's a popular choice when you kind of look for a lipstick. As you can see, I've worn this throughout the film. And the texture is so nice. It hasn't broken up, it hasn't dried, and it feels super light. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.